Hi, I'm Jenny. Welcome to episode 8 of the Slowness Knitting Podcast. This is the space where I bring you along the journey of me knitting my own wardrobe. In this episode, I have a lot of summer knits to show you. I think I really need to film these episodes more regularly so that I have fewer items to show you, so that the episodes just don't get way too long or I don't have time to talk about the details. This episode, I have 4 finished objects. They're all summer tops. And I also have exciting whips to share with you, so let's get started. The first one is this top that I'm currently wearing. If you've seen my last episode where I talk about my yarn haul and the yarn stores in Europe, you would have seen a little sneak peek of this top. This is the one skein of knitting for olive cotton merino that I got in Copenhagen, and this color is Dusty Artichoke. And this is just one of my Freehanded pattern. It's this kind of halter top with this cable design. I got this cable design from a Chinese designer that she shared this one of her tank tops with this cable pattern. With this section is the cable pattern. The middle section is what I got from her design. And this halter top design is from a store top that I saw a celebrity wore, and I wanted to make that top. But that top is a halter top with a much bigger cable design. I ended up combining these two tops I want to make and made this cable top, but with these very delicate cable design. In the middle we have a one stitch kind of waffly, I don't know the exact name for this type of cable. And then here you have a actually this is a 3x3, and then from here the original pattern they just repeat these, but I start to just go over different types of cable. So this is a 3x3, and I did a 2x2 with a longer space in between, and then I did a 1x1. And then the back just look like this right now. So far I only put one button here. My original idea, which I may still do that, my original idea is to do a row of buttons in the back, but after I put on the first one, I actually thought the top looks really good right now. That's why I've kept it this way. I'm just terrible with finishing. I actually didn't really finish the top. The button is very loosely put on, and I haven't woven in any ends or anything. I'm just terrible with finishing. I just love to do the knitting, the actual knitting part, and once I'm done with the knitting, I just leave the finishing for like months and months. So I actually finished this at least a month ago. It's been a while. I have worn this. I've worn this a lot at home. I've also worn it out one time. So this yarn, I'm gonna mention the last bit of the construction. This halter top, I first started just with stockinette, and then I folded it because I know I want to put in, at first I thought I'm gonna put in like a I-cord or something, but then with this color, it's just so romantic and beautiful. I envisioned my pearl necklace as the top part, and that's what I did. So this is my pretty skinny pearl necklace that I got. It's actually handmade. I got from this girl in Paris when I was in Europe. I got some of her handmade jewelries, and they're beautiful. I think this pearl necklace really add a very unique touch to this top. I'm really happy with this design that I came up with. So it's pretty simple. I started whatever amount. I actually didn't really calculate or test gauge or anything. I just randomly thought of it roughly about a good amount kind of number. I just estimated, and then I start with that amount. I just start to increase every other row all the way until about here. I start to increase every row to make it more rapid, and then I cast on. To this point, I just cast on an amount to make it enough for the circumference. Actually, my first round when I cast on, it was way too big, so I ripped it back to here and then recast on maybe like 20 stitches fewer. So this yarn is cotton merino. I've heard people saying good things about cotton merino. That's why I decided to get a ball to try it. This yarn, I do like it a lot. Unfortunately, I don't have anything left to show you because I used up everything. This is just my strategy when I get one ball for a summer top. I use every drop of that ball of yarn. So I can't really show you what the yarn is. So this yarn is 50 gram, 250 meter, and it's a pretty high twist yarn. So it's not splitty at all, even though it's 70% cotton, I believe, 30% wool. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it's not splitty at all. It's a very high twist, so it feels very good. And it's a very thin, it's a light finger and weight yarn. So it feels very nice, and you can see the stitch definition with cable is really, really good with this yarn. And I think this dusty artichoke color is just beautiful. This is indeed a really pretty color. I think it looks great on very fair skin tone, and I'm a bit darker with very strong warm undertone. It also looks really good. It's just a great color that they've created. The only thing about this cotton merino yarn is that I've heard people saying that if you want to knit summer top but you hate summer fiber, this is like the best of both worlds. It knit up like a wool, but then it's a cotton. I disagree with that. I think this one, in a way, not that serious, but in a way, I think it kind of has the worst of both worlds. When you're knitting it, I don't think it feels like a wool yarn. It feels very much like a cotton yarn. But like I said, because it's a very light finger and weight, so you don't feel the tight, stiff, lack of stretchiness kind of feeling when you knit cotton. I think that kind of feeling is very strong when it's a thicker yarn, because this yarn is so thin. It doesn't feel bad at all, but I also don't think it feels like you're knitting wool. There's not that bouncy stretchiness. But when you're wearing it, I've worn this on a pretty hot day here in LA, and I definitely feel that here in my chest area, this has also taught me a lesson that I feel like for summer tops, I don't really like tops that cover this area. For this area, I can feel that there is wool in it. It's a little hot on a very, very hot day. So I feel like it has the worst of having wool in it, but it feels like cotton when you knit it. The other thing that it feels like cotton is it does stretch out. I actually haven't washed this yet. I don't immediately wash my knits. So I don't know if it will open up or stretch even more, but so far after a few wears, this one did stretch out quite a bit, especially like here, because it's a halter top, it's pretty like open over here. The time that I wore it out, I do feel like throughout the day, it just got a bit looser and looser over here. So my other idea for the back is actually, instead of a button, my other idea is to knit 2 ribbons and make it a tie, like a bow tie, so that if it got more loose, I can tighten it. I still think that would be really pretty, like a white ribbon back there. But the thing with cotton tops is that if you feel like it got too loose or anything, you can always wash it. After a wash, it will shrink back and it'll be tight and comfortable. But yeah, overall, now that I actually haven't worn this in a few days, now that I put it on again, I really like it. I think it's a very, very pretty top. I actually thought about writing this up and put it out as a free pattern, but write it in the style that's a simple, like 1-page, 2-page pattern with just a chart, and then you can always just customize your own size you want. It'll be very easy customization for your size, because you just need to calculate what's the circumference that you need, and then you just decide your increase speed. But that's just an idea that I might put it out as a free pattern because I think it's so pretty. So this is my first summer top. The next one is something I've been wearing a lot. I made my second Sailor Swift top. I'm gonna put this on and then show you. Here is my Sailor Swift top. Give you a close-up. This is actually the first time I am re-knitting a pattern. Last year I made this Sailor Swift top and this is my second one. I feel like it is a big deal that it is my first time knitting a pattern for the second time. My first re-knit. So you can probably tell that I love this pattern a lot. And you can see that I've made a few modifications this time around. I'm gonna first start with the yarn. So the yarn I used for this and this are kind of, it's the same brand. For the main color, I'm using, not Universal yarn. If it's not Universal yarn, I'm gonna correct it. I get two brands mixed up. But I know for sure the line. This line is called Cotton Fair. Some Michaels sell it here in North America or just United States. And this one I'm used is called Bamboo Fair. So their Cotton Fair is a half 50% cotton, 50% acrylic sport weight yarn, 100 grams, 300 meters. And Cotton Fair is a 50% bamboo, 50% cotton. And this yarn is a little lighter than this cotton. Is it? No, it's a little less, it's thicker. This is about 100 grams, like 270 meters, something like that. I really like both of these yarns and I like this one even more. This cotton one, you can feel that it's a little thicker, but it's a sport weight. It's still a perfect weight for a summer top. But this one, because with the 50% of bamboo in it, it's very drapey. I don't know if you can see. It's drapey and it's very lightweight. It's more lightweight and flowy and drapey. And a little more like cooling, not just breathable. It feels much more breathable. It's very comfortable fabric. I love this fabric a lot. I'm seriously considering getting more of this yarn. The only thing is it's just hard to get this brand. I know that some Michaels used to sell this Cotton Fair, but they don't sell Bamboo Fair. Maybe they do, it depends. It's just hard to get. You can only kind of order from their website and you have to pay for shipping. Both of these tops, I used just one skein of the main color, and the contrast color for this one is a cone yarn I got. It is a part cotton, part silk, kind of like 50-50 cotton and silk kind of yarn. Yeah, I think both of the color combos that I picked, I think they look really good. I'm really happy with the color choices for my Sailor Swifts. So after the yarn, I'm going to tell you about the modifications I made. So for this one, the original pattern looked like this. You're going to have I-cord in the main color. You're going to have I-cord over here, and then armhole is also I-cord. For this one, I chose to use contrast color. That's mostly because I use up all of my main color. But I do like the look with this contrast color. This brown, I think, adds a great detail edge to it. And I actually am not a big fan of I-cord edging. I just think it doesn't look as commercial. Therefore, because you've just seen commercial items more, to me it looks less clean and polished. So this time around with the neckline, I decided to do a double knitted, I believe this is just stockinette double knitted. And then with the armhole ribbing, I actually debated for quite a while. Initially, I still did an I-cord, but because my contrast color yarn is a bit thinner than the main color. So when I did an I-cord, the I-cord wasn't strong enough to hold this main color yarn, so the rolling was still very, very bad when I did the I-cord. It just doesn't look good. In the end, I decided to still do a double knitted, not double knitting, but knit stockinette and fold it back. But after I only knitted like 6 rows of stockinette and I bind it off, it looks really good. It doesn't roll or anything. So my armhole edge is just pure stockinette. I just pick up stitches and knit stockinette. And here is I pick up stitches and knit stockinette and then fold it back, sew it down. The good thing about adding this little edge is also this pattern, it does have the slight issue of the armhole is just really big in this pattern, both my first time and second time, and I've heard other people having this experience as well. So for me, the good thing with adding this little bit of length is that it makes the armhole a more acceptable depth. It's pretty good now. So that's my first modification is this, all the finishing edges are different. And the second modification is the original pattern is this neckline. As you can see, the original pattern is this increase, 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 and then you cast on a lot of stitches here. So it's like this shape. It's quite trapezoid kind of shape. But I wanted more curved shape, like all the way curved. This increase rate, I did it from my next finished object. This is the mini mock neck tank by Jessie Maed. Oh, this is by Veronica Lindbergh or Kika, in case you haven't heard of Sailor Swift top. And this is my mini mock tank. I also knitted this one. And I really like the increase rate of the mini mock tank. This curve, it's really like the shape of that neckline. So I learned from that pattern and adjusted this neckline into this more curved look. And I'm really happy with it. If I had more main color, I would have knitted this a little bit longer, but I forgot to mention my bottle edging is also knitted and then folded down, finishing. So I don't think there's much to say about this top. I really like this pattern. I'll quickly go over the construction. You first started with the back. There's no short rows or anything. You just knit a trapezoid for the back with some increases. I really like the increase rate of this pattern. And then you pick up left and right shoulder. You increase for the neckline and then you cast on whatever certain amount of stitches here. You join left and right, keep knitting, increase for armhole, and then you join front and back. And then you knit it in the round until, for me, in my case, until I finish my yarn. What I like about this pattern over the mini mock neck tank, a big thing I like more is, as you can see, this tank, the front, I guess you call it shoulder, is much wider. So overall this part is much wider than this Sailor Swift top. And I like this cut a lot more. So mini mock tank basically will go from here to all the way here. It will cover all of this. And personally for me, I like this design. It's just a lot more comfortable. With that tank top, I just feel like there's a lot of fabric right here, and I feel it in my arms as I move my arms, and I don't like that feeling. I don't like the fabric being right here. So that's my personal preference. I really like this top. I love this pattern, very easy to knit, and I don't think this will be my last, because I think at least I would want a basic black and white one, because I've seen so many black and white Sailor Swift tops and they just look so classic and simple and beautiful and wearable. So I think I would totally knit up another one. I think the first summer this will be my staple stockinette knit. I started this because I needed stockinette TV knit because my other knit is color work or something. That's why I started this, and then it just knit up so quickly. Very happy with my second Sailor Swift top. Now I'm gonna put on this mini mock tank to show you. Here is my mini mock tank by Jessie Maed. As you can see, it's a very work-friendly top. Also, the Sailor Swifts are also very work-friendly. I wear it to work a lot. This one is just more of a office summer top versus a casual. I think it's a little bit less casual for me. I'm going to talk about the yarn. This yarn is a little more hot. I got this yarn last year when I went to Europe. This is from Rico Design. I'm pretty sure this yarn is already discontinued. It's called Fashion Cotton DK. They call it DK. I thought this yarn was thicker too, but it's pretty much a finger weight yarn. It's 50 grams, 210 meter. And I got 2 balls, so I have exactly like 100 gram, 420 meter kind of ish. And I was worried if I wouldn't have enough yarn, but I end up finishing it with exactly all the yarn I have left. And this is about half cotton, half silk kind of content. I believe it's 45% silk, 45% cotton, and 10% polyamide. So I thought the composition is very interesting. But this yarn, once I knit it up, it's actually one of those chain net construction. If you've knitted with a chain net kind of cotton yarn, I've used, I guess, only 2 yarns that are like this. They're both very soft. They feel very soft in the hands. They don't feel like cotton. But this kind of soft feeling, I think, is correlated with feeling very hot. It's not very smooth, fresh kind of yarn. It's very warm, fuzzy, and hot. So this is actually a really hot summer top. So therefore for me, it's kind of only good for office. If I'm just going out, I wouldn't really wear this. It's too hot. I knit the, sorry, I didn't say the size. I knit the smallest size for the Sailor Swift and also this one. Yeah, and I use up the entire 2 balls of the yarn. I didn't do any modification except for the bottom. I actually don't remember what the original finishing is, but I do this with all my summer tops just because I want to use up all my yarn. I knit all the way to the end of this yarn, and then I do a waist yarn as the double knitting, the inside of the double knitting. This pattern came out last year and it was very popular. I actually was not interested in it just because I already have my Sailor Swift top. But what changed my mind was I was watching Curatorial Knits, and she made one of these, and she made a comment that was actually ended up being a little misleading. She was talking about the edging of this top. So this top, the construction is the same, but the armhole edging, there's no finishing at the end. It's knit along. And she said, oh, this edging is kind of like ribbing, but not ribbing. And that got me curious. I was thinking, oh, what is it? I'm really curious to learn this knit along finishing. That's almost all the reason that I got this pattern, because I want to see what this technique is. There is no technique. It is 1x1 ribbing right here. I don't know why she said that, but this is exactly just ribbing. So when you knit the back and front, the first or last few stitches, I'm not going to say the numbers, those stitches are knitted 1x1 ribbing, knit 1 per 1. And that's how you get this finishing edge. So you don't have to do a arm band, anything in the end. The only thing you need to do is this neckline. The construction is the same: back piece, pick up, increase, increase, join, and then join. The only difference is, first thing is, like I said, the neckline shape is different. I really like the increase rate of this one. Second difference is you do the edging finishing as you knit it along. The third major difference is there are some short rows in the back. So when you're knitting the back, it's not a trapezoid. There are a little bit of shoulder short rows like this. And as you can see, the cut of this shape is just more coverage than the Sailor Swift top. For me, like I mentioned, I personally think this is too much fabric right here for me, and I don't love it. And with this ribbing edge, I think it will look better if you're using a pure wool or animal fiber yarn. I think the ribbing will probably be more elastic for me because this is a cotton silk fiber. So my ribbing is not very, it doesn't hold memory. So I think this edge ribbing is just a little bit too loose. And what it tends to do a lot is it tends to roll in, fold in like this. Like naturally, they start to do this a lot. Right now it looks very tight and neat on me just because this is freshly washed. That's why it looked a bit wrinkly earlier. But if I wear this for a bit throughout the day, it will become more obvious that this edge is just getting loose, and then it will start to fold in like this a bit, which I actually like the look of this actually. But that's my only complaint with this pattern. I've also seen someone else's mini mock tank, and their edging also look a bit like this. And for her, she was saying that her size might be too big, that's why her edge is a little loose. For me, I think it's partially the yarn, the summer fiber that I'm using, but partially it's just too much fabric here for me. But yeah, this is my mini mock tank. Overall, it's still a great knit. I love it a lot. I'm gonna get so much wear out of it when I get colder. I think this is a great fall and spring top for me. Personally, it's not a summer top. In the summer, but I do get to wear it to the office. And I love it. Another very successful summer knit. And the last tank top I have, it's not a summer top. I thought it could be a summer top, but it's not at all. It is very hot. It goes inside out. I'm trying to flip it around. This is a Freehanded ribbed tank by me. It's just all over 2x2 ribbing. This is the only project I brought with me. Well, only two projects. I brought this project and I brought this yarn on my trip. So for the first half of my trip, this is the only thing I was working on. The yarn is Arwetta by Filcolana, and it is this mustard yellow color. I love me some mustard yellow. That's my favorite color. Actually, I say that's my favorite color, and then everything I'm knitting is green. It's just a very basic 2x2 ribbing, same construction, no short rows. I start with the back, a trapezoid, pick up, do increase here, and then I did a little bit of short row to give it a little bit of this edge. It's not super obvious when I wear it. And what happened in the end is, originally I don't want to add any ribbing. I just want the raw 2x2 edge. I think it just looked very nice. But this top was too small. This is 100%, wait, this is not 100%, this is a sock yarn. Is maybe 80-20 wool and nylon. So it's very woolly. So the ribbing is shrink in a lot, not like other summer fiber. When I knit a ribbing, especially after you wash it, it opened up a lot and it stays like this, but this wool really shrink in. So this top ended up being very, very small. So I had to knit a ribbing. I knit a about 7-stitch double knitted button band to give it more fabric so that I can close it up. I also haven't really fully sewed in the buttons. This is just very temporary. And I'll put it on very briefly to show you. It does look very good, but again, it's not a summer knit. I'm looking forward to wear it in fall or even winter as a layering piece. Right now, it is super hot. This gave me the conclusion that wool summer top just does not work. Especially doesn't work when it's ribbing. Ribbing really makes the fabric feel it's double layered, so the fabric feels very thick. This is what this one looked like. I really like the back shape. This armhole shape. It's very similar to the Sailor Swift top. I just think this kind of cut is perfect for me. In the front, like I said earlier, it is a bit tight. Even with the buttons, it's like a little slightly open. But I feel like this design is just one of those very popular designs this year and last year. Just like slightly open kind of buttonhole like this. I haven't put in the third one. I'm going to put in the third one. Yeah, it does look very cute. Like I said, I'm looking forward to wearing this in fall and potentially winter. My only concern is I don't think this is gonna be a good layering as the outside layer, for example, over a t-shirt, just because it's definitely a negative ease or zero ease top. So I don't know how wearable it is over something. But on its own, it's pretty cute. I have to say this yarn is a little bit scratchy for me, especially now that it's hot. So this yarn, conclusion, definitely not a summer knit or next to skin zero ease kind of yarn for me. But it does feel good as I'm knitting it. As I'm knitting it, I felt that this yarn was very, very soft, but wearing it, it's just alright. It might be because it's just too hot. I will give you the final verdict when I wear it in colder weather. I'm going to change back to my other tank top and then show you my whips. Back to this one, much better. I have 3 whips to share with you. The most exciting one is, of course, this one. I just knit this up so fast. And like I said, I don't film my episodes regularly enough. So this top is already, the sweater is already this big. The baby has grown to this size and this is your first time seeing it. I am extremely in love with this. Using Sarah's word from It's a Sarah, this is the most heart jumping thing for me this year. I think this is the most heart jumping thing. I am so in love with this. This knit officially let me realize that colorwork knitting is my only process knit. I knit everything for wearing it. I'm a product knitter for everything. I am, like I said, knitting my own wardrobe. I want pretty things to wear, but colorwork is the only process knit for me. I really enjoy the process of knitting colorwork. Every row, every stitch, the rhythm of 2-color colorwork. It's just so enjoyable for me. And as I was knitting this, I don't know if you've seen those old printers where it prints row by row and you can see the paper coming out row by row printed like that. That's what colorwork feels to me. Every day you just see it row by row and it's the shape just slowly appear. It's just the best feeling. This pattern is a free pattern by Drops. This is one of their really old patterns from the 90s. So it doesn't really have a name. It's just literally called Sweater with Squares. And I've had this pattern on my queue for a while. I just think this color work is really pretty. And I finally decided to cast this on. And the end result, well, this is not the end result, but my product so far, it's even better than I pictured it to be, just because the color is just so perfect. I think this shade of green just make this motif look very classy, but not too common. There are a lot of colorwork motifs that are just used a lot. This is not one of those overused motifs. And paired with this color pairs perfectly with my couch. This is how much of this green I have left, and look, you can't even see the green because it's the same color as my couch. The yarn this time I used are both yarn I got from China. This one is called Agnes, the brand. I think they used to sell on Amazon, but I looked this time, I don't think they sell it anymore. And then the main color is a brand called Lotus yarn. And they are roughly the same size. Originally I thought this will be much too thin compared to the main color, but they end up being about the same thing. This is a sport weight colorwork. I think sport weight might be my perfect colorwork fabric. It's not too thin, it's quite substantial, but it's not too thick. I don't want very thick sweaters anymore. And I actually didn't mention the most exciting thing. It's my first time steeking. I steeked this already. So this is a bottom up. You add steeking stitches for the armhole, and I've already done the steeking. And then for the neckline, I actually, because these old patterns and drops patterns, there is just no information. So I actually wasn't sure how to do the neckline. I looked through a few YouTube videos. I think next time when I finish this, I'm going to talk more about the steeking and the videos I learned and how I did it. I'll show you clips of my steeking. But ever since I've done it to this point, I have been taking a break from this. I haven't started the sleeves yet. Right now, I'm going to do it really quick. It's really hot. Right now, this actually looks really good as a vest with some white jeans that I got. Oh, look at this. Look at this. It looks so good as a vest. Okay, I'm gonna take this off. I will definitely talk more about this next time, just because I already talked about a lot today. The only thing I haven't started the sleeves, part of the reason is I'm just not sure why or how to do the sleeves. I know there are roughly 3 ways. Normally, if it's not color work, I really like to pick up the sleeves from here and then knit it down. But a lot of these color work people knit the sleeves separately, bottom up, and then attach it, which I'm not sure why people do that, bottom up and attach versus just pick it up. Because if you pick it up, you don't have to sew it together in the end. And I find that easier. But I guess my idea is, I guess people do this for the reason that it's just more convenient to only have a sleeve to knit on versus holding this whole piece of fabric when you knit the sleeves. And you have to turn this around all the time. I'm not sure. And the other thing is, right now, I am not entirely sure about the size of this armhole opening. I kind of think it could be cut in a little more, so I feel like I will also do the bottom up just because, and then I can see if the sleeve looks good as it is right now, or if I want to cut in more into this armhole opening. But yeah, that is what I have so far, and I'm in love with it. My second whip is another one of my one skeiner summer top. I was just feeling eyelets, so I just started this little top that has random little eyelets placed sporadically, and the type of eyelets are also random. Right now you can't really see because I am in the middle of a row and I've used up my yarn. This is all the yarn I have. So I couldn't hold it flat. I couldn't open it up. I'm in the middle of the row. And it's been folded up for a while, so it also looks very wrinkly. I love this yarn. Like I said, I'm knitting everything green. This is a pure silk by Rosario's 4. I got this in Portugal last year. I wanted to try their pure silk just because I used Knitting for Olive pure silk last year and I really like the fabric for summer top. So I want to try a different brand. Unfortunately for this color, they only had one ball, 50 gram, 210 meter. So I only have this one ball, but like I said, I do this kind of one skeiner summer top a lot. I have my ways. I have my designs or techniques or things I do to make it work. So I'm gonna make this work. This has been put aside for a while too. I will get back to this. I've already used up all of this ball. So my plan is to actually get another ball of similar color in Sand Scarline actually to finish this up. But I may do something else. You will see. My last whip is actually a test knit. I unfortunately could not finish the test knit and the pattern is just released today. It's the, actually, I'm not sure how to say this word. It's the Tuileries top. It's that garden in Paris. The designer is Knits pour moi, or Sumi. She's based in France. She's made a polo shirt that is also this lace pattern. Like I said, everything is green. Basically, it's this kind of lace pattern. You can see. It looks very modern and simple and clean. The polo top she designed with this pattern looks really, really good. And this is a open button-down vest top. And I have joined the body, so right now it looks like this. This is where I am at right now. It'll look like this. I am looking forward to finishing this. Right now you can't really see. It's hard to show you. Oh, I love this shade of green. It actually looks really good. So my vision for this, because this is test knitting, I already had a yarn in mind that I'm going to use. I started with that yarn and it just looked terrible. It just did not work with that yarn. It looked very messy. You just can't see the pattern. It just looked like a mess. I almost wanted to give up. But I ended up finding another yarn from my stash. But this yarn, I don't have a lot. I don't meet the meterage that the pattern suggested. But because of this green, I actually already have 2 green tops that are this kind of shade. My Lunati and another summer top. So I felt like it'll be repetitive to knit another green top. But then suddenly I had this vision that for this top, I think I'm gonna make it kind of cropped. Yeah, fairly cropped. And then I have this new pair of white jeans, and I think this will look great as a crop button-down vest top with white jeans. So that is my plan. I'll show you more next time. So that is all I have to share for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you enjoyed some knitting or crafting time. Please leave me a comment telling me what you're knitting on or crochet, or if what you're planning on making. I would love to read it. Happy knitting! See you next time. Bye!